Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those of you who don't know me, I of course am the FPL Train. Now in today's video we are going to be doing a free hit team ahead of game week 12. Why am I doing a free hit team? Number one, it's the international break, so we're probably a bit bored and we're just fiddling about our team, so you might like what you're seeing. And number two, I mean, game week 12, there's some decent fixtures going into this game week, and you might be looking at certain players going, oh, I want him for game week 12, but I don't want him for game week 13 onwards. So why not think about doing a free hit team? It's the first video I've done for a free hit team so far this season. Most time when you do a free hit, or most people when they do a free hit team, they target usually a double game week. But from the looks of it, there might not be that many, double game weeks this season. And you can't guarantee you're getting a good double game week either. So you could have a nightmare one. I remember last season, I mean, we had 2 double game weeks, but one of them was an absolutely horrible one. So you can't guarantee that. So this week, well, game week 12 should I say, there are some decent fixtures you might want to consider looking at free hitting for. I mean, you could obviously wildcard. I know some people are looking at doing that, which I get that. But yeah, in this video, we're just going to be doing a free hit team. Now, team value wise, I've done this dead on 100 million. So if you got better team value, you can get a few better players in this team. But obviously I decided to go for the 100 million just because it makes it easier for most people. So, starters in goal then, I went for Flecken and Cahill. Now, if this was my team personally, I could have got Raya. I will like to point out as well, I am not free hitting in this game week. I like my team going to game week 12. This is obviously for people who don't like their teams. So yeah, Flecken in goal and Cahill in goal. Now the reason why I've gone for Flecken, obviously I did mention I could have got David Raya, which I would do if you could afford him with this team. I would get David Raya, but Flecken I don't think is a bad shout at all. Yes, Brentford at the back have been pretty awful, to be honest. Let's face it, not been that great. I don't even know if they got a clean sheet yet this season, but yeah, they've been really disappointed in the season at the back. Attacking wise, they've been great, but defensively they've been poor. But they are playing an Everton team. I know it's at Goodison Park, but Everton team they're awful, man. They are absolutely awful. They should be. By now, everybody keeps going about Sean Dyche, but by now they should be better than they are. They're just not. They just can't get past wherever they're at. And attacking-wise, they're not much of a threat, for me, being honest. I don't worry. I mean, that West Ham game was a hard watch, if I'm being honest, when Everton played them. Calvert-Lewin, I don't know what's going on with him. Not great at the moment. So, yeah, there's not much of a threat from Everton. So, maybe Everton can get that clean sheet in this game week. So that's why I've gone for Flecken. He's only 4.5 million, so it's a bargain there. And the other goalkeeper is Cahill of Brighton. Obviously he's not a starter, but he is the first 3.9 million goalkeeper that you can get. So he's the cheapest goalkeeper you get, so that is why I've gone for him. Moving on to the defence then, and we've got Cons of Aston Villa, Saliba of Arsenal, Konate Liverpool, Ben Narek of Southampton, and Lewis Hall of Newcastle United. Decent defence, I'd have to say. Obviously, there's no standouts really, but when you're looking at that team straight away, you think, I mean, Konza of Aston Villa, week in, week out, he starts. He's dirt cheap. He's got Crystal Palace at home. Not the worst fixture in the world. Crystal Palace have been really disappointing so far this season, but so is Aston Villa's defence in all fairness. But I figured put him in because he's guaranteed starting, and Aston Villa aren't a bad team. Defensively, though, they haven't been great. Saliba of Arsenal, one of the best defences in the league. I mean, Forest are obviously a really good team this season, or have been so far this season, but I think Arsenal will shut up shop against Nottingham Forest, and it's being played at the Emirates as well. Konate, Southampton way, great fixture for Liverpool. I think they've got the best defence so far this season, Liverpool, so I can only see a clean sheet there. I can't see Southampton scoring. I mean, I can't even see them getting past the halfway line, if I'm being honest, so I think that's pretty much going to be a clean sheet there. Probably jinx it, but that's what I'm thinking. Ben Narat's got Liverpool at home. No chance you'd... he's just literally you had a bit of money left. So he was dirt cheap. So he starts, you just put him in your team. And Lewis Hall, another great option as well. He's got West Ham at home. Tough fixture that is, to be fair, but it is being played at St James's Park. And Lewis Hall's looked pretty decent for Newcastle recently. And Newcastle have been in a little bit of form right now. So that is something to consider. He's dirt cheap as well, though. He's 4.3 million and he starts for Newcastle. So, I mean, he's something I'm looking at bringing into my team full time. Never mind just having him in a free hit team. Onto the midfielders now, and first up we've got Madueke and Palmer of Chelsea. Both of them have got Leicester City away from home. Great fixture for them. Honestly, I was just thinking about maybe going for Palmer, but the way Leicester play defensively is awful. They've got Vestergaard back fit, which in my opinion definitely makes them weaker because the guy is so slow. And the way Chelsea play, their pace going forward is going to absolutely ruin Vestergaard. So honestly, I didn't know which Chelsea attacker to go for, so I've gone for both Madueke and Palmer. Obviously, Palmer, we know what he's like, but just, just to cover yourself, I definitely would get Madueke in as well. With the Liverpool guys, you obviously got Salah and Diaz. I mean, you've got to have these two. We've got Southampton away. Southampton plays suicide football. Honestly, it's such an hard watch. I'd hate to be a Southampton fan right now watching the football because, oh yeah, it's great they got into the Premier League, but oh man, I hate to tell Southampton fans, but your manager's playing for a higher Premier League team or a higher European team. Because look at Vincent Kompany at Burnley. He did the exact same thing and got a job at Bayern Munich. That is what Russell Martin's going to be looking at doing. So yeah, I do think Liverpool are going to be ruining Southampton in game week 12. And then Bruno Fernandes coming in a little bit of form now, finally, for Man United. Got a new manager now coming in. They're going to look at to impress. They've got Ipswich away again. Another team that's come up from the Championship. So all 5 of these players are playing against teams that came up from the Championship. Yes, they're all going to be away from home, but I can see all 5 of these players ruining all 3 of those teams. So then your front 3 consists of Jackson, Watkins and Lancashire. Now obviously Lancashire is not a player you look at to bring into your team. He's just somebody to make up the numbers. But obviously the 2 strikers that I've gone for are Jackson and Ollie Watkins. Now picking a striker was actually quite a tough one in my opinion because you got the likes of Weezer. He's now back playing for Bournemouth. Pedro is now back playing for Brighton. Then you've also got the likes of Cunha in form for Wolves. You could also maybe say Raul Jimenez, but he has dried up in the last couple of games. And then obviously Isak of Newcastle. So there's plenty of options for the forward role, which is actually a good thing. I'm really happy about that because it gets boring playing the same players everyone does every week. So it's good to have strikers in form. Obviously, the biggest notable factor I've got in this team is no Man City players at all. Yes, they've lost 4 games in a row. Are they going to lose 5? It's probably doubtful, but Spurs is going to be a difficult game. So that's why I've avoided both Spurs and Man City players. Nicholas Jackson, like I mentioned, with Madueke and Palmer, have Leicester City away. And like I said before, I don't know who's going to get the goals. I know who's going to get the assists. But I'm going to go all out attack. And that is why I've also gone for a third Chelsea player. And of course, that's going to be Nicholas Jackson. A guy who can score either 3 goals or no goals and get a yellow card. That's the kind of player he is. There's no middle ground with this guy. He's either going to smash it or he's going to do absolutely terrible. So I definitely think he's going to be worth a gamble. And then I've gone for Ollie Watkins, who has got Crystal Palace at home. Now, Aston Villa themselves have just had a terrible, terrible week. Obviously, they're going to be looking to bounce back. Ollie Watkins is an absolutely unreal striker for Aston Villa. Yes, he hasn't scored in the last 3 games, Premier League games that is. But is that going to continue? I don't think so. Put it that way. I think he's going to score against Crystal Palace, who have been pretty poor, if I'm being honest. I mean, obviously they sold one of their best defenders in Anderson to Fulham, which was a stupid decision long term. I mean, obviously they're thinking they're going to keep him much longer, but they should have kept him because they've looked so much weaker, Crystal Palace. And I do think Aston Villa are going to bounce back and score goals against Crystal Palace. So that's why I've gone for Ollie Watkins in this team. So what I'm going to do now is show you what the team would look like going into game week 12. So then, this is how the team would line up if you was to have this team for game week 12. And that is, of course, starting Flecken in goal. You'd have Konza or Lewis Hall. Very much debatable that one is. I still can't decide myself. At this moment in time, I've gone for Konza, but I wouldn't be surprised if you went for Lewis Hall. I wouldn't blame you for going for Lewis Hall because honestly, that one is literally a toss of a coin. You probably got, I would say you got a better chance of getting a return with Hall, but Konza's scored a goal this season, so yeah, it's literally a toss of a coin there. But of course, you'd also have Saliba and Konate starting because obviously 2 of the best teams in the league. We've got a good chance of keeping clean sheets. Obviously, you're going to stick with that 5-man midfield. You're not going to bench any of those guys. You're going to have Fernandes Diaz, Madueke, Salah and Palmer. And then that also leaves you front two being Watkins and Jackson, because Lancashire is definitely not going to be playing. And there's no chance you're going to be starting Bednarek either, who's obviously going to be playing against Liverpool, but he's not going to be getting any points. If anything, he'll get a minus. So it'll be a 3-5-2 formation. I mean, what a team that is. I mean, there's only a few players that are playing at home, but I reckon this team is going to could absolutely smash it. I kind of wish I had it, but I'm not going to be free hitting myself. But if you are looking at free hitting, definitely consider going for that team, or majority of that team. I understand if you don't want to go for certain players, perhaps, and the strikers, I mean, it's all up for grabs, really, where we want to go for strikers, but my word, that team looks quality. And tell you what I'm going to do, after game week 12, so when we're going to game week 13, I'm going to bring this team up again and show you how many points this team scored in game week 12, to show you whether this free hit team was a disaster or a thing of genius. So yeah, that is the video. That is the team, the free hit team that I would do if I was free hitting for game week 12. Let me know what you would do for game week 12. Would you free hit? Would you go for the gamble? Would you wildcard? Or would you just stick with your team? Do you like this free hit team? Let me know what you think. Before you go as well, please do not forget to like this video. Even if you don't like it, just like it anyway. You know, you won't remember liking it, just like it anyway. And also as well, please do not forget to subscribe as well. That is also important. And thank you again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.